Spinning. Says live, we're on. My wife is saying I should introduce myself. I'm Dr. David Jans from the Alternative Healthcare Center. Most of you that are on already know who I am. Tonight we're going to cover some things on the immune system and talk a little bit about the current situation and how we can get our immune system up. And also I'm going to cover some topics about the flu shot, and I'm going to jump around a little bit, which is how I like to talk. Ramble a little bit, but get some important key comments. If you are on with us, I'd really appreciate it if you would just put in the comments section, just say hi, so we know some people are coming on. I know there was like 7 or so already, but we've got some good data for you tonight. And also too, we're still doing phone orders for patients. Some people can't get out. We can leave it on the curve for them. All the docs are doing phone consults for patients, again, that can't get out, or people are out of state or long distance. And you can follow us on YouTube. And all the videos, including this one, will get loaded up on YouTube under the Alternative Healthcare Center. And what else we got here? Oh, and I'll mention this again. We're going to be on Tuesday. Lisa Mislevy's coming on, the registered dietitian who does integrative medicine, a holistic approach. I'm going to lead off, and we're going to go over weight loss and how to lose weight and what are some of the key root causes involving weight loss. All right. Well, Sandy Herp, hi. And she said hi to me, and I'm saying back to you. Kathleen Francis, hello. Not a patient yet, but plan on it someday. It's great. And the world famous Kathy Holland. And I'm sure Dan is somewhere in the vicinity. Hi, Maureen. Yeah, the weight loss, Maureen, that's going to be Tuesday, approximately 8 o'clock. She's actually got a slideshow together. But I'm gonna lead off on that. Excuse me. I'm gonna lead off with that because I want to cover some of the key things that are missed and why people don't lose weight because of what's going on with the glands, especially the thyroid. So many people, blood work can be valuable, but there's a lot of times that you'll get the blood work done and it's totally normal and your thyroid's dead. So we'll go over how we assess that and how we get it better. Hi, Sandy. All right, Marina, I already said hi to you. So it is 8:17, so let's get started. I had an interesting thing happen last week. This gal that the office manager knew had called me, and she was really sick with COVID. And I'll just read you, I actually gave her nutritional support over the phone, and this is her success story. I'm going to leave her name out. My name is blank, and I was diagnosed with coronavirus on July 7th, 2020. I was given a Z-Pak antibiotic and told to quarantine for 14 days. No other information was given or advised. I was a nervous wreck thinking that I had just been handed a death sentence. I had no taste buds, no sense of smell, recurring headaches. My body hurt like I had been run over by a truck, which are common symptoms with COVID-19. I reached out to my doctor and was just told to call 911 if I had trouble breathing and continue to take Tylenol and Advil. By the way, Tylenol is not a good thing to take when you're fighting this particular virus because it messes with what's called your glutathione, and it can actually worsen the condition. After sitting for 2 weeks and being tested 3 times and still being positive, I decided I may as well work since I'm just sitting here. Having the opportunity to work from home during this pandemic has come in handy, and I believe has ultimately saved my life. When I logged in, I started to reach out to my clients who were naturally curious to why I was out, asking questions and making sure I was okay. I'm very transparent with my clients, and I feel like I have a certain rapport with them, so I didn't have a problem telling them about my diagnosis. The day came when it was time to reach out to the Alternative Healthcare Center. I spoke to Rochelle, who you guys know that our patients is the office manager for a gazillion years, almost when I started, just by a few years short. I spoke to Rochelle, as I do every week, and told her what was going on. She immediately reassured me that I was not going to die and proceeded to tell me what their center did. She asked for some more information and told me that she would be in contact soon. Please know that my energy levels were extremely low and I was tired all the time. The headaches were still there and so were the body aches. I was given natural medicines to boost my immune system and help my body fight off this virus. I started taking the nutrition on a Friday, and by Sunday afternoon, I felt so much better. I could feel my energy levels returning, the headaches were subsiding, and my taste buds and sense of smell had returned. I am so thankful that Dr. Jantz and the team at Alternative Healthcare Center were able to help. You all have my deepest and sincerest thank you. I really feel like they saved my life. So basically, we don't treat the virus directly. We treat the immune system. And that's one of the things I'll go into in a minute. So one of the key things, too, that I found out early on that was blocking cases when I was doing phone consults and the clinic was on pretty much lockdown except for emergency patients. People get severely dehydrated when they're in this situation with this virus. Fever obviously is going to dehydrate you, even a low-grade fever. But I had a couple of patients that it kind of cracked the case for them when we gave them an electrolyte formula, because you tend to urinate your potassium out with this particular virus. So the electrolytes, a potassium-weighted electrolyte was a key thing on getting people well. So you really want to watch your hydration. I know it's almost sounds silly. It's so basic, but your hydration, we have patients just constantly coming into the clinic, and Dr. Shell, Dr. Jeff, myself will say, hey, your dehydration reflex on the body when we do the acupuncture points and we muscle test them, you're dehydrated. And I would say probably 85% of those patients say, I drink like a gallon of water. How could I be dehydrated? What happens is if you don't have enough minerals and trace minerals, you're not going to pull the water into the cells and hydrate your body. So the water just goes right through and doesn't get into the cells. So you often need sea salt, Celtic sea salt, electrolyte formulas, trace minerals, etc. All right, so a quick note here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he heads up the Children's Health Defense, and he fights for the right for people to not vaccinate if they don't choose to. He actually is involved in lawsuits where people are, when a vaccine has caused a lot of injury. But he made a statement on a recent post that this gal from the University of California, and they're conducting all their classes online, by the way, all the students and workers will be required to get a flu shot this fall. And this doctor said mandatory flu shots will lessen the chance of being infected with COVID. And actually, it's the complete opposite. Since the beginning, I've been reading from Dr. Brownstein, Italian doctor, an Italian doctor that was had kind of already picked up on the fact that the people who were getting flu shots were having a much more difficult time if they got COVID. They had an increased fatality rate. So, honestly, I've never been a big fan of the flu shot. They guess at the strains. They inoculate against a few strains. They're guessing which strains are coming through. A lot of people still get the flu. A lot of people still die that are vaccinated. I find it causes a lot of other ill effects to the system that we have to detox out of the body. So there's natural remedies to boost your immune system. If you keep your immune system up, if you keep that motto, that's how you're going to get through this. That's how everyone's going to be in a safe condition, is you're eventually getting your immune system up high enough. You get exposed. A lot of people are walking right through this and don't even know they have symptoms with the COVID-19. All right, so there is a great product made by Metagenics. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's called Immune Active. And there's studies and there's research on what they put into this product. One of the things that's put in there is zinc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up a step and give you a big word. It's called ionophore. And what happens is that you have these various products that are what are called zinc ionophores. Quercetin, which is a bioflavonoid, which is a phytonutrient that's in fruits and vegetables and gives it color and pigment to it. So quercetin will actually take the zinc and carry it across the cell, because when you get it, the studies are showing that, and have been showing for a long time, that, and there's 3 studies that I have here. If you want me to post them, you guys that like to do research, we'll put them on the Alternative Healthcare Center post. But when you get zinc into the cells, it's just like throwing a wrench into moving parts in a machine. Everything just gets disabled. But it's very difficult for a lot of patients to get zinc across the cell membrane. So quercetin and green tea extract, which are in this product, and zinc, it helps to carry that across so that your immune system can be boosted by that. And that's also how the hydroxychloroquine works. You guys have heard of that, I'm sure, by now, chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine, which is a weaker metabolite of chloroquine. That basically, you push, that hydroxychloroquine pushes the zinc across the membrane, the outer part of the cell, and then gets the zinc in there. And hydroxychloroquine, there's a lot of arguments of, oh, is this toxic, not toxic? I personally don't think it's that toxic, because I've studied some of Dr. Klinghart's work, and he had patients on it back in the 70s and did thesis on hydroxychloroquine, where people had lupus and what's called Sjogren's syndrome, where you have dry eyes and dry mouth. It's an autoimmune disease, and lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. That was a helpful drug. But anyway, it works. Those of you that watched the Frontline Doctors, they all took a stance coming out saying how great hydroxychloroquine was working in their patients. I mean, they were getting a tremendous recovery with patients, but as you may have heard, one of the lead speakers got fired because of what she came out and spoke about, which is total BS. And she got, we're getting censored by just saying we can help the immune system. It's crazy. So Maureen asks, so taking a general zinc supplement isn't effective? ? So hang on just one sec. Okay, thank you. You'll get some across, but not the amount that you need to get across. So you need these things called zinc ionophores, quercetin, green tea extract. It's not just in this product from Metagenics, but it's in some other products that we use too. And that's how you can get it delivered across. And I'll give you an example. It's just kind of an analogy of, you need certain things in the body to move them in different places. A lot of people have tons of calcium in their blood, and they have a calcium deficiency in their tissues. So what happens when you have a calcium deficiency in your tissues? You get itching, you get dry skin, you get sunburn real easy. In fact, a great remedy for sunburn is you take calcium lactate and you take this stuff called Cataplex F tablets, because the concept is with zinc, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. With zinc, that's the cargo, and the train is the quercetin, the hydroxychloroquine, the green tea extract. So the same concept with calcium. If you don't have the train, the calcium stays in your blood and can build up in your blood and sometimes even become high, and your skin can get very hard and stiff and dry and wrinkle easier. So a lot of people who get chronic hives and welts all over their body, where they itch intensely, or they'll have these skin issues that never relent, or they get severely sunburned. If you take calcium lactate, even hourly, when you're out in the sun with the Cataplex F tablets, when I say F, we call it vitamin F. It's the omega-6 fatty acids. And that's the actual train that moves the calcium into the tissues. So it's the same concept with the zinc. You need other things to move it where it's supposed to go. So keep that in mind for sunburn too. There's a lot of you people who are really light skinned and get tremendously burned. I had one of my patients tell me, she goes, "Oh my God, that sunburn remedy you gave me," and she's really fair, Irish, and she was saying like, wow, you know, when I go out in the sun, I can actually get a tan. I mean, for her, a tan is reddish brown, but she's not burnt to a crisp. Hi, Lisa. All right, so we covered that part. And then there are these studies. One of them on the zinc ionophores is on the quercetin is by Dr. D'Adamo. You guys may have heard of the Eat Right for Your Blood Type. He's quite a brilliant doctor, and he also has done some research that he came out with regarding the virus that, or viruses, that melatonin, if you take it in high doses, even throughout the day, I know everyone knows melatonin is, you know, it's for sleep, but you can also take it throughout the day, and it can help with getting what's called that cytokine storm, where these proteins are signaling too fast, and it causes a lot of inflammation, and then people can end up in a very severe state in the hospital. So it can block that cytokine storm, especially if you're over 40, your melatonin starts to drop. So if you feel like you're getting sick, we have a spray. It's a very small amount. It's a 1/4 milligram. You can spray that in to bump your immune system up, but also it helps with the storm. And it's also very helpful for anxiety. I didn't know that till this year. That's the one thing I think as a physician, when I hear docs who are really good and they don't want to study anymore or learn stuff, then the fun comes out of it, because I learn from the patients too. I mean, I'm always open. Like if something's new I can add to the repertoire, and Dr. Jeff and Dr. Scheller the same way, you know, always looking for other ideas. But Dr. D'Adamo has done a lot of study on that. And again, I can put these references up for you. Zinc, by the way, is really important for your immune system. It helps you get rid of a cold in general, even if you're not using it with green tea extract and quercetin or hydroxychloroquine. Zinc is important for hair loss. It can help with yeast, getting rid of candida and yeast in your immune system. Another thing that's quite interesting with yeast, a lot of people don't know about, if you have an eating disorder of any type, high doses of zinc can be extremely helpful to pull the patient out of that eating disorder, anorexia, bulimia, etc. So Fran said, what's the name of the spray? I'm not sure what she's asking me there. I didn't, she's talking about this right here. This immune spray that has some zinc in it. It doesn't have the quercetin in the green tea extract. A lot of people love this for kids because it tastes pretty good, and it bumps your immune system up. It's got a little zinc in it. That's called Immunospray, to answer your question. All right, so moving on. The zinc test is important because just like anything, you can get too much of something. If you eat one apple, you'll probably feel pretty good. And I assure you, if you eat 2 or 3 apples in one sitting, you'll not feel so good and get a lot of gas. So that's a simple explanation, but you can get too much zinc, which then depletes your copper. And we naturally have some copper in our body. You can throw that out of sync. No pun intended. Sync, not zinc. Okay, so Immune Active has got these zinc ionophores that carry it across. So it's real important. You know, the zinc is, you don't need to take extra zinc with this because it's already in there. But sometimes we'll give a patient zinc with quercetin and the green tea extract, because that's basically a key thing. So if you want to do the zinc test, we were talking about this a few months ago, and then I ordered it, and they were back ordered. And we finally got it in about 4 weeks ago, and it's a good price on this. This is about $14, and you can shake it up a little bit. But basically, when you do the zinc test, you just put 2 teaspoons in your mouth and hold it for 10 seconds. I would recommend that you don't smoke a cigar or a cigarette. I don't recommend you don't do that anyway, but you wouldn't want to be eating just before you do this test too. Try to wait 30 minutes. And you just put it on the teaspoon, put it in your mouth, and you can swish it around a little bit and hold it for about 10 seconds in your mouth, and it's totally fine to swallow it. So what you look for in that first 10 seconds, if you have an immediate bitter metallic taste, you are totally adequate on your zinc. Going down from there to the other end of the spectrum, you can put the zinc in your mouth and you have absolutely no taste. Even several seconds go by, up to 10 seconds, and you can barely taste it or not taste it at all. You are definitely zinc deficient. So it's a simple, and in between that, you could have a moderate unpleasant taste, and that would be a moderate zinc deficiency. So this is a way to gauge it while you're taking different products. If you're taking zinc, like I said, you can get too much, so you can just periodically test your kids, husband, you test your wife test your husband, and then you can see if you get that bitter, metallic, strong taste, okay, we kind of went past a good mark, and you would then stop taking zinc. So no taste means zinc, yeah, like 0, Diane, definitely. All right, so yeah, so immune active, Anita, yeah, that is the zinc thing. That's the product that has the quercetin and the green tea extract in it. Yep. And it, just like any other product, if someone's sensitive, you'd have to start out really, really slow. And here's another key thing with not all viruses, but the particular virus we're dealing with, and all these viruses like Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, those are fatigue viruses, coronavirus, shingles. These viruses, they're crafty little buggers, and they'll put an envelope around themselves to protect themselves. So often you not only have to drive the zinc in there, but you've got to give nutrients to support the immune system to help the envelope come off. And we like St. John's wort, works really good. I know you guys are probably going, St. John's wort, that's for depression. But it's also good for anxiety. And it's just as a side note, I like to ramble. Just as a side note, the St. John's wort can be fantastic for women when you have a lot of anxiety on your period. It can be like a game changer. And monolaurin, which is a coconut oil derivative, those two products is what we would use to support the immune system. So you see there's the zinc, there's the envelope aspect of it, and you also have to not feed bugs, whether you have bacteria or viruses. There's been a bacteria going around, by the way, in the intestine, on just way more people seem to have that than what we're hearing on the virus lately. So anyway, stevia and monk fruit, they're the two best sweeteners that don't feed the bugs. And I would recommend, I just bought some online, some organic non-GMO stevia, but I bought the green stevia, which you have to use a bit more of. It's not as sweet as the white stevia that you buy, but that stevia is a lot more processed. So the green stevia actually has a much more therapeutic effect that helps with balancing your blood sugar. Like if you're diabetic, you could actually want to use the green stevia extract, and because it'll help your blood sugar actually balance out and help your insulin resistance when your cells are getting a little resistant to the sugar coming in. Let me just make sure I got everybody's questions here. I think so. Okay. If you guys have any other questions, just keep firing. Also, the stevia does not cause tooth decay. Neither does xylitol, by the way. That's a sugar alcohol. And that's a pretty natural, comes from fruit. Doesn't really seem to feed the bugs either, by the way, the xylitol, unless you go too heavy on it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out because sugar feeds the bugs. When I say bugs, I'm talking about your immune system drops because of the inflammation it causes and the depletion of nutrients, including zinc and B vitamins get depleted out of the body. So when your immune system drops, obviously it's harder to get rid of infection. And since most of the people that live in the United States are carbohydrate addicts, myself being one many years ago, you've got to shift that because it is an addiction. It's as simple as that. It's just like being addicted to cigarettes or cocaine or whatever it might be. So you can crack it. You just have to, some people do it real fast. Some people do it real slow. They wean off slowly. And the key I find is don't be hungry. You can't leave yourself hungry. You need to maybe use some nut butters, some starchy carbohydrates like beets and squash, etc. Anyway, that's a key thing. And also sugar feeds cancer cells. So that's another thing that we're obviously is rampant. And I think with the cancer too, that we've got so many more chemicals in the environment. We got a copy of Roundup, the glyphosate, and that's on all your fruits and vegetables that are organic, by the way. And if it says non-GMO, that doesn't mean it's organic. If it just says non-GMO and not organic, then it's being sprayed by a pesticide. Anyway, with that vial, when we do our alternative technique of muscle testing, man, do I find that in here in the thyroid, because obviously it comes through your throat and gets trapped in that thyroid gland. And it can go in any part of the body, spleen, heart, intestine, etc. And then we're constantly helping the body get rid of that by detoxing. And that's a key thing, because Roundup is a chelator. It actually will chelate minerals out of the body, especially manganese. And manganese is really important to your pituitary gland, which is up inside your skull, and which tells tells the thyroid what to do. It's kind of the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, ovaries, etc. Anyway, that's a key thing. So we covered. Oh, the Immune Active also has some vitamin C in it, and NAC, N-acetylcysteine, which helps stimulate glutathione. Glutathione is like the king antioxidant in the body that pulls all the garbage out of our cells. That is the key to getting a body well often, is you'll have products like, just regular go-tos like Immuplex, and that boosts your immune system. But if you don't have something like this, what we term it drainage, there's a lot of drainage products. There's Antranex, there's Spanish black radish. Sometimes the drainage lock point in your body is you only move your bowels twice a week. We consider that a drainage problem. So drainage is the key. Sometimes you'll need 15 Antranex and just a couple Immuplex because you need more drainage to clear your lymph. And also, there's a gland right here, and it's called the thymus gland. And it's a small gland that's very active in children. It's twice the size when you're a kid versus an adult. However, besides being an important immune gland for kids, when you're trying to get a kid, get his immune system up, I have patients that are 80 years old that need thymus support to eventually, get over the hump. We use a product called Thymus and Thymex for that, because it's a big whammy on people. It's especially with the deeper part of your immune system with your T cells, where you get memory and you have to the body has to get really deep to get some of the stuff out of your system. So anyway, I've given you some ideas. Let me see. Yeah, you're right, Anita. Anita said drainage tone, ! And there's lymph tone 1, 2, and 3, Spanish black radish, Antranex. There's sinus tone for the sinuses. There's CV tone, which helps the heart drain. And then again, I tell you, it is amazing how many people come in and say, your bowels move good? Oh yeah, they move great. I go every 3 days, or I go every other day. That's not normal. That's a toxic situation, which can lead to all sorts of health issues. So sometimes you need whole food fiber. Sometimes you need iceberg head lettuce. I know it's no nutritional value, but it's great at moving your bowels. There's ground up flaxseed works, real good actually. Chia seeds, ground up, those things all usually just need a little more fiber, but some people need like a power, like the bomb, we call it the intestinal cleanse #1. If intestinal cleanse, number one, doesn't work. I think you're a gone case, because if you take intestinal cleanse, we've had some patients have to take 9 a day to move their bowels, but that's a key thing, to have. Okay, if someone no longer has a thymus gland, is the supplement you're talking about even more important to take? That's a debatable subject, Maureen. If your thymus gland has been removed, if you take thymus PMG, in my opinion, I think you would actually enhance your immune system with that, because it kind of puts those proteins in there that would help your immune system to signal better. Also, the thymus gland is really important if you have like the middle ear infections, deep sinus infections. And also, there's one other thing that a lot of physicians don't actually know this, but the thymus gland can be the make or break for a hyperthyroid case. Like when a person comes in, they're 80 pounds. Like you see some women, they're 80 pounds, maybe not even 80 pounds. Their body's hyper, they can't sleep, they sweat easy, they lose their hair, they can't gain weight. I know that's gonna piss off some people that I said that, but there are some people who can't gain weight. So I always tell them you could rent your thyroid and be a millionaire if you could rent your thyroid out. So yeah, that was a really good question about the thymus gland. But thymus gland is also in conjuplex. A lot of you that are patients are familiar with that. Okay, let me see if I got anything more that I wanted to cover. I think I covered the main stuff. The flu shot, there is a product called Flutone, which works great to boost your immune system. Oh, Dr. Shell had mentioned geranium and lemon essential oils have shown a positive effect on what's called the ACE2 receptors on the cells. It creates a block on those, because those ACE2 receptors, they'll actually inhibit the virus from entering the cell. So all these things do is again, we don't treat the virus. We're just boosting the immune system and doing it cleverly so that you can assist the body to get better. The other thing too is try to stay away from the psychiatric drugs if all possible, because they have a lot of side effects, including on the thyroid. And Kathy Highland said, what did you say? Dr. J, no days off. Thank you for sharing this vital information. Well, that's all right. Dr. Jeff and Dr. Shell, they worked their butt off too. Actually, we're all 3 characters. Fran, my wife, is asking me, do you sell the oils? Dr. Shell does. She does some meetings with that, and then we're testing some stuff on scars. I'm trying it especially, but obviously the essential oils have way more uses than that. So yes, I see you would take the hyperthyroid. I'm telling you, the patients, that they could rent their hyperthyroid out, they'd be millionaires. Just take that thyroid for about 3 months. You wouldn't even have to change your diet. Let's see here. Wanted to make sure that I got everybody's questions. So if you have any more questions, fire away. I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to cover. I'm going to go on Tuesday. I'm going to lead off Tuesday around 8 o'clock. Lisa Mislevy is going to have a slideshow on weight loss, and I'm going to go over the root causes. And I also, if you can share this video, that would be fantastic. We'd really appreciate it. I already mentioned, maybe some of you weren't on, but we're still taking phone orders, obviously by phone, where we drop it off at the curb for people who can't get out. Phone consults we do for people out of state or people that can't get out. Follow us on YouTube. All of these get loaded up to YouTube. And then I already mentioned about Thursday. So there you have it. I think I'll stop jabbering. Oh, I see Cindy came on. She was lying in the weeds on us. So she's probably up north. That's, Cindy, the assistant. Okay, so I'm just making sure that I've got everybody's questions answered. And I really appreciate you guys taking your time out on Sunday. I'm kind of a crazy guy because I just decided, okay, I want to do this tonight. Let's do it. So here we go. You're welcome, Sandy. Thank you. Okay. All right, hang on. Wait, there's one more question. Sandy Reese, Sandy Herp. Do you recommend immunospray as a daily supplement for my 7-year-old when she starts school? That's a great question, actually. That's this product here. Yes, because they'll take it because it doesn't taste bad. It's got a little zinc, and it actually has, remember we were talking about the thymus? It has some thymus support in it. So yeah, she can take squirts before school, during school, and it's something they'll do. 7-year-old's not gonna take supplements always real readily. All right, on that, you're welcome, Margaret Ann. Thank you. You're welcome, Sandy. Okay, so we'll sign off. Thanks, Anita. You guys were fun. Hopefully you got something out of it. Take care.